I'll get started.
Okay.
Okay, everyone, welcome to our Conquer Your Cravings class. Kahiki and I absolutely love this class, and it's something that we all deal with, whether it's sweet, salty, crunchy, fatty. There are times in our lives where cravings come to us, and sometimes we feel like we're fighting against them. Why don't I just have more willpower? Why can't I just stop eating, blank? And so we want to dig deeper into that and explore what are our cravings? Why do we have them? What do they mean? And then we're also going to talk about some gentle ways to reduce like the super, super sweet, super, super salty foods with like some gentle swaps so that we can get our taste buds more to where we want them. And if we're trying to eat healthier and trying to eliminate things like sugar and things from our diet. So, real quick, I am Andrea Sprague. I am the holistic chef, and I've been a health supportive chef for, gosh, going on at least 15 years now. And I specialize in cooking for people who have food allergies or sensitivities or are just trying to change up their diets because they to feel better or because maybe there's an autoimmune condition or they're going through some kind of a healing crisis. And I cook for people, but I also do a lot of classes like the one that you are at right here. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to go ahead and let Kahiki introduce herself in just a minute. But for those of you that have not been to a class with us before, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we do this. So Kahiki is going to start off and introduce some of the things like I just said, teach us a little bit about our bodies and cravings. We'll pause in the middle, and then I've got a few things here in
So
front of
Alexa
me.
up here is must be.
We got someone who's not. Okay, someone's not muted. Okay, so I have a few things here in front of me that, like these really fun little Snickers bites that I've made. So I'm going to do a little cooking demo in the middle and talk about the real foods version of some of what he's going to talk about. Then she'll finish us off with a few more topics, and then we will have time for Q&A at the end, and then maybe even one more cooking demo. So I will go ahead and turn this over to Kahiki. So please tell us a little bit about yourself first and then get started.
Okay, hi friends. I recognize some faces. Some have been in our classes before, some we met at Be Healthy. Either way, we're happy to have you here. And I'm really excited that you care that much about your health and wellness. So kudos to you for even being here and carving out that time. So I am, again, Kahiki Hansen. I'm a certified integrative nutritionist and health coach. And I minored in psychology, and I am constantly intertwining those worlds because, frankly, they are intertwined. And I feel like that is not talked about enough. And so, what I do though is I get to help people restore balance and healing by using food as medicine because it truly is our most powerful medicine. And if you think about it, it is administered at least 3 times a day. So it is a very intimate relationship. And that's often what I will refer to as it's a relationship. And that's where it really starts is our relationship with food. So we're going to touch on all of it. Yes, we're going to get into the nutrition, but we're also going to get into the root causes of why we reach for the foods that we do, why we're having the cravings that we are. We're going to decode it a little bit. So today, and you'll see, hopefully everybody can see the screen now, conquer your cravings. So some of the things I'm going to touch on, what is our body telling us? What is the unmet need behind the craving, and how can we align our mind and our body so they're not at war with themselves anymore? And it's important to know that food alone is not the issue or the solution. Okay, but we're going to address it from every area. So I want to set the tone with this. Health is not about diet and deprivation. It is about nourishment, fulfillment, and eating in a way that supports your unique needs, biology, mental health, and lifestyle. And that varies between each person. It's important to find out what foods best support you so you can live the life you were meant to and thrive. That's what we want for all of you. So thank you for being here, taking care of you in this way. So we're going to jump right in. Let's start decoding your cravings, okay? Understanding your cravings. So this is kind of the science behind it. So the definition of a craving is actually an intense desire for a particular food, and it's often linked to an emotional or physical need. So it's psychological versus physical cravings. That's why I say it's more than just food. And what's driving that craving, right? What's the nutritional need or what's the emotional unmet need? And then why do cravings happen? These are just some of the reasons. Hormonal fluctuations is a big one. And I notice it's mostly women here. I know we all feel this in our core. At some point, we have experienced emotions and the hormones that go with it. Okay, so hormones is big for us women, and every phase of life, we deal with fluctuations of these hormones, depending on the phase of life you're in. And then blood sugar imbalances, that is biology right there. That's your body trying to survive. And if it's saying, oh, I have an energy crash, I need energy, you're going to be craving, and you can guess what it is, carbs, for example. It could be stress. It can be for comfort, right? Lack of sleep. It definitely alters those hormones, ghrelin, leptin, those hormones, and it'll make you hungry. So it's hormonal. A lot of it's hormonal. But why cravings happen again, or let's talk about brain chemistry for a minute, how food affects dopamine and serotonin levels. Those are both feel-good hormones, okay? Those are also called neurotransmitters because it's brain chemistry as well. And then you have physical needs again versus emotional needs. So the connection between our mood and what we crave, I'm going to help you tie those together. And these are the four main types of cravings. Now I want you to pay attention here and try to figure out which one do you tend to crave more. And if you're brave enough, this is a safe space, okay? If you're brave enough, I'd love for you to put it into the chat. Which one of those do you tend to crave more? And remember that because we're going to decode each one. So sweet is usually a need for quick energy. So there's usually a drop in blood sugar when that happens, or you're feeling low or stressed. Somebody said sugar. That's probably the most common right there. Okay. Salty, dehydration, low in sodium, potassium, or magnesium. So those minerals, those are all minerals. So when you're reaching for something salty, you are likely low in one of those, one or more. And you may need some energy as well. So I see more sweeter, sugar sweet, savory, okay, carbs. Now we're moving to carbs, or savory, sorry. Savory is the need for more protein or fats. And when I say protein and fats, I'm not just talking any proteins and fats. I'm talking anti-inflammatory protein and fats, lean proteins. I love wild caught salmon or fish. Okay, and we all know turkey, chicken, tuna, those are great proteins. You can do grass-fed beef as well. Red meat is not something, side note, that I would eat every day. But I'm not saying no to it completely. Just side note there. If you have inflammation, that's worth noting. Okay, so protein, healthy fats. So olive oils, avocado, those types of fats. And then savory also can mean you just need emotional comfort, especially for foods like cheese and meat. So carbs, now that's you need quick energy or a quick mood boost. Okay, meaning you may also be low in one of the feel-good hormones, serotonin. Now, I'm going to make a side note here as well. Most of your serotonin comes from your gut. And if your gut health is compromised, guess what you're deficient in? Serotonin. So I need you to make that correlation. Gut health will influence your serotonin. Okay, so imbalance in blood sugars will definitely do it if you have a craving for carbs. And then again, insufficient protein or fiber intake. Carbs tend to be one of the first things we reach for as well. So thank you for going there, you guys, and saying what your common cravings have been. Now let's talk about what is your body actually telling you? What is it trying to tell you when you're having these cravings? So sugar cravings, you need to balance meals with protein, healthy fats, and fiber. So those of you that said you have sugar cravings, prioritize those three things on every plate and then see how your cravings are. You can usually subside them when you have that combo of protein and fiber, those two especially, but then add in healthy fats and you stay satiated as well. Okay, and it'll also help stabilize blood sugar. Salt cravings, time to hydrate. So electrolytes would be great for that. Even coconut water. Coconut water is nature's Gatorade. I don't know if you've heard that yet, but it's natural electrolytes. I love coconut water. And then you can flavor it with fresh fruit and infuse it with mint leaves, raspberries, strawberries. Get as creative as you want and make it taste delicious. And Andrea is going to give you some examples here in a minute. Okay, so salt cravings, hydrate with minerals, meaning electrolytes. Savory craving, eat healthy protein sources, lean meats again, even plant proteins, nuts, seeds. You can do homemade snacks. I do homemade snack packs for me and my family. The kids in the morning don't like to eat that early, and maybe this is you. So I actually pre-prep these little snack packs that have little protein. They have nuts. They have, my daughter likes there's turkey pepperoni. That's what she prefers. But whatever it is for you. And then there's fresh fruit in there as well, and nuts and seeds. Okay, and those are grab and go. So now by eating first thing in the morning and not waiting too long, you're going to help your blood sugar and you're setting yourself up to win the rest of the day. You're going to prevent a blood sugar crash, which will help you not have cravings. So ladies, it is important to eat at least an hour and a half, an hour to an hour and a half upon waking for your blood sugar stability. It will help with cravings. Okay, and then carb cravings, complex carbs like sweet potatoes, whole grains, legumes, they will help give you steady energy versus, we've all heard the deal about white carbs. What they actually do when you metabolize white carbs, it's a spike in your blood sugar, so that's weight gain, okay? But it's also quick energy, which also means a quick energy crash. When I say complex whole carbs, and I'm going to give you lists here in a minute of what those look like, your energy is not going to spike and crash like that. It's steady energy. It's much better for your metabolism and your waistline, but also energy. Okay? So let's learn to work with your body. We got to stop fighting it. Okay? It's trying to communicate to us. And we need to slow down and listen so we can support it in the way that it needs. So it's no longer a battle. This is some of the basic things you can do to prevent cravings. Number one is hydrate. Because most of the time, when you think you're hungry, you're actually thirsty. And the annoying thing about it is our bodies are designed to feel the same craving, hunger cues when you're thirsty, but also when you're actually hungry. So how do you decipher? You drink a large glass of water first, or drink a large water bottle first. If you know it's not a mealtime, you just ate, drink water first. That is a great rule of thumb to have. I also recommend, for gut health reasons, drinking water in the morning before you put solids in your gut. That is just good gut health right there. But it will help you not to have as many cravings. So you drink water, then wait a half hour. Now check in with you. Are you still hungry? And if so, you may legitimately still need some nutrition. Okay, but often what I find with my clients is that takes care of it. They were actually thirsty. Bonus if you can add electrolytes into that large glass of water. You're two birds, one stone. So wherever you can get more nutritional bang for your buck, I recommend it. That's one of the ways you can do that. Okay, so hydrating is that important. Limit our grazing. Avoid frequent snacking and eat denser meals. There are exceptions to that for those that, for example, with diabetes and you have to maintain a certain blood sugar. That's an example of snacking. If you're pregnant, you have a higher caloric intake need. That's an exception. Other than that, most of our gut health likes the breaks in between meals. So water's great, keep doing water, but where you can take those breaks and not feel deprived, by the way, because again, health is not about deprivation, then give yourself those much needed breaks. This also means stop eating a couple hours before bedtime because your gut needs that time from when you stop eating until the morning to repair and rest. Even if you eat right before you go to bed, you're not getting great sleep because guess what? Even though you're technically sleeping, your gut isn't because you just put food in it. So it will actually interrupt sleep as well. So for many reasons, I say take a break a couple hours before you go to bed and limit your grazing. Walk or move after meals. That will help with blood sugar as well. Okay. And then regulate blood sugar. Eat a high, you're going to hear me say this a lot, eat a high protein breakfast within an hour or hour and a half of waking. That is how you keep cravings at bay the rest of the day. And then check in. Are you bored? Are you emotional? Are you stressed? Is this a real craving? Mindful eating. Pay attention to when and why those cravings occur. I would even say, and I have clients do this for awareness, because you can't change what you're not aware of. So as you're studying yourself, I recommend clients keep a log either on their phone or some people like to do an actual journal and write it down. Either way, it's about awareness. Where am I? What is the environment when I'm having these cravings? I'm at work, it's stressful and it's busy. I'm at home, I'm numb and I'm sitting in front of a TV and I'm distracted, right? It's important to note these details because you're almost learning and studying you. Oh, I noticed that often when I'm having cravings, I'm either bored or I'm in a stressful environment, and that'll tell you something. Okay. And then prioritizing 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night is so important. That's actually when your body does most of its healing and it's repairing. Same with your brain. Your brain is detoxing. Throughout the day, you're putting so much in it, right? In your body, we're talking food. Brain-wise, we're talking input, constant input. At night is the only time everything gets a break. And that is the most important part of your healing. So, stress management as well, but sleep is that important. Like I said, it regulates the appetite hormone. So leptin is the hormone that decreases appetite. Ghrelin increases appetite. When you are sleep deprived, ghrelin goes up. So do your cravings. So another argument for getting good sleep. So how do we change these behaviors? Okay, stop, drop, and pause is my theory. Because again, there's power in the pause. Meaning, if we're eating in front of a TV, if we're eating in the car, and this is most of us, and do I do this sometimes? Yes, I am human. I'm saying for most of your meals, if they cannot be in an environment that is stressful or where you are distracted, that's actually ideal for digestion. Hear me when I say this. You metabolize food differently based on your environment and whether or not you're stressed. So that's important to know. Most people do not know that. It will influence your digestion and your metabolism based on your current state of stress or your environment. So where you cannot be distracted is ideal because it's a relationship, right? If you're going to go out to dinner with your significant other and they have a phone in front of their face, that's not going to build a great relationship. I want you to have a healthy, loving relationship with food. So as you eat it, ideally, there aren't distractions. You're able to slow down. And as you can see there, savor the flavor, feel the texture, enjoy the nourishment that you're putting in your body. It is a very different mindset than deprivation and guilt. Deprivation and guilt will never be a part of a longevity story because words and feelings have energy, as we know. And those words, guilt, shame, none of those have healing energy behind them. That mindset and those words are not a part of your health journey to thrive. It's nourishment and fulfillment. And I want you to enjoy those foods and think of that as you're eating them. Okay, so listen to your body is the last one. Stop eating when you're 80% full. And this is also good gut health. This is great for digestion. For those that often get bloated or indigestion, that's a must. Eat smaller meals. Stop when you're 80% full. So ask yourself these questions when you insert the pause. Okay, ask yourself, am I really hungry or is this just a craving? What can I put in my body that will love it back? That's the actual words that I use with my kids in our home. Foods that love our body back. You are changing the way you look and feel about food. How will this food love my body back? Or it may be, you know what, this food isn't going to serve me very well. I'm okay without it. I'm going to choose something that loves my body back. It is that shift that I am talking about. Okay. What is my unmet need? Now, again, that can be nutrients or an emotion. What is the root of this emotion I am feeling? That, my friends, is the root cause. And sometimes we use food to numb. But at some point, if we want to get past that, we have to address that root emotion and go there. So when we are more aware and build emotional resilience, we can make empowered choices. We are no longer a victim and we will no longer succumb to our cravings. You take the power back by addressing the root cause of whatever the craving is. So here's where you may want to take a picture, take a screenshot, because I loaded up these next 4 slides and each one is going to give you healthy swaps for each craving. Those with the sweet cravings, this is you, okay? Here's some ideas for you to make some swaps. Hopefully you've seen some of these before. Olipop is one of my favorite clean, I don't even like to use the word soda, but it actually has prebiotics in it. Very little sugar, not enough to concern me, and great ingredients. Olipop I trust. Andrea is going to show you some others that she likes as well that I would absolutely sign off on. Okay, dark chocolate. I don't know who doesn't love chocolate unless you have a food sensitivity. I'm not talking to you. I like to keep dark chocolate in almost every flavor in my freezer. There's something about it when it's cold, especially in the wintertime. And that way I won't eat an entire thing as well when it's frozen like that. Dates is a great sweetener. Nut butter, it gives you the peanut butter feel, right? That's protein. That's also healthy fats. Again, more nutritional bang for your buck. Frozen grapes is a old trick and it still works great. Chocolate avocado mousse. Andrea has an amazing recipe for that one, by the way. Homemade hot, I don't even like to say cocoa because it's real chocolate, which is some of the highest in antioxidants, meaning very anti-inflammatory. Real chocolate before we throw in all the milk and sugar. Chocolate by itself, which is cacao, very anti-inflammatory. So the higher that percentage can be of cacao, the more benefit you're getting. Okay. Fresh berries is always a good idea. I love, and again, that's also fiber. That's not just antioxidants, that's fiber. The beauty of eating this way is you're getting more than one benefit when you eat natural whole foods like this. Okay, and then nice cream, there are so many great recipes out there. Energy balls, chia pudding with coconut milk and vanilla. I've also seen, Andrea did this one too, matcha green tea chia pudding. So now you're getting high antioxidants again. Mango, that's naturally sweet. You're also getting fiber. Now somebody might be thinking, but that's sugar. Yes, it's nature's sugar. That's metabolized very different than your processed sugar. But when you get sugar from a fruit, it's accompanied with fiber, and that prevents blood sugar spikes. So you always want, when you do eat something sweet, it's ideal in the form of fruit where you have that combo of natural sugars and fiber. Okay, Greek yogurt, ideally plain Greek yogurt, and then you top it with berries, your fruit of choice, or you can do cinnamon, which is anti-inflammatory. So for those of you that have inflammation going on, that's another bonus to add in. Honey, berries, again, nuts and seeds. Sweeteners, stevia, monk fruit, and dates. Okay, so the next slide, we're going to be talking about salty cravings. Those of you that had this one. A lot of us like chips, right? If you're from America, we like white bread, we like chips, but it's more than just the salty. Sometimes we want something to crunch in our mouth. Here's some other alternatives. Roasted nuts and seeds, for example, almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds. And by the way, they're all anti-inflammatory because they have healthy fats in it. Air popped popcorn. Kale chips, if you like that. Roasted chickpeas. Now you're getting plant protein as well. Baked sweet potato fries or just baked sweet potato. Avocado with sea salt and lime. Sliced bell peppers and cucumber with hummus. You can also do hard-boiled eggs, and maybe you have some from Easter left over. I know we do. Whole grain rice cakes and nut butter. Whole grain or seed-based crackers. Siete is one of my favorite brands, by the way, for that. So this is a good place to pause. I have two more to show you of the cravings list, but I know we're getting really heady with the list. I want at this point to turn it over to Andrea so we can see how fun this is when you actually start applying it. So she's going to give you some examples. So Andrea, is it now, you have control?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. Hello, everyone. I love it. As she's talking, I'm just thinking about, ooh, I've got so many of those things in front of me to show you. So I'm excited. And while I'm talking, if there is a specific food, I know we kind of talk sugar, sweet, savory. If there is a specific food that you crave, even if it's not every day, if it's times of the month, situational, that I would love to know in the chat if you want to like throw those in, because we can talk about them if you've got specifics. And like Kahiki just talked about crunch, and especially with like salty, fatty, and crunchy. That's what chips are. Sometimes we are craving a texture also. So I know she just flooded us with all kinds of information about why we might have a craving. And it runs the whole gamut of, is it emotional? Is it that you didn't sleep? I mean, how many of you have felt that when you got a really bad night of sleep, that you just can't seem to stop eating the next day, and especially craving things like sweets. We talk about all these different reasons why we can have cravings. I want to introduce also, there is something about texture. People who chew ice, people who can't seem to like not get a bag of chips every day, or they finish like a whole bag of chips. There's something about that crunchy also. And I want to invite that we have a need when we eat to experience different textures. So like me as a chef, if I were designing the perfect plate or the perfect meal, I'd make sure there wasn't just soft, 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 right? Mashed potatoes with some ground meat, with like a soft, mushy broccoli or something. Like I would want you to have something chewy, something crunchy, something salty, and even something sweet. If you have sweet cravings and you never put something sweet into your dinner, and then you are looking for sweet after dinner, that could be something that could help you. Having a sweet potato on your plate, having something with a little sweetness. And I have some nuts here. These are pumpkin seeds and some slivered almonds that if crunch seems to be something for you, adding some of these over your plate, over a salad, over the vegetables on your plate, this might be something to try and then see if that satisfies that feeling. And then you're not looking for something crunchy later. So I want to definitely make sure we talk about texture. Now, Kahiki just mentioned some of the soda, and, when it comes to sweet cravings. Is anyone in here, like it's soda, that's the thing for you that you just can't seem to quit? I mean, some people have a daily soda habit, or they go to diet, or they try to go to something with stevia. I mean, soda can be, it's so many things. It's sweet, it's bubbly. It could also be something going on with your digestion. There's a reason why ginger ale and 7-Up were given to us as a kid when we had an upset stomach. Sometimes that carbonation feels good to us, and we might not realize that. So if anyone has a soda, craving, or that you can't quite seem to kick, these are some of the other brands. I actually don't have the one that Kahiki mentioned. So I've got the Culture Pop. This one is Perfy. I mean, there's so many now. If you go to the store and look, this one's Poppy. And what's different about each of these, and this would be my suggestion to you, is if you're drinking something with high fructose corn syrup, there's an intensity to that sweetness that your taste buds are looking for. And so it will help you, if you don't want to just willpower your way through it, to slowly adjust yourself to maybe real sugar. And then, which is what Poppy is. Poppy has real cane sugar. They actually put a tiny bit of stevia in it too to kind of bring the sugar down. So you can bring yourself to sugar. And then once your palate starts to get used to that, you can bring yourself to some of these others. Like what I really like about the Perfy one is it's all real fruit juice. So this isn't going to taste as intense as a Pepsi, but if you allow your taste buds to slowly get used to it, this will eventually taste good. And then Pop is also a bunch of fruit juices. And that's it. There's no other sugar in that one. So I want to definitely mention those. And then she mentioned also electrolytes. And if you've got salty cravings, there are a lot of products out on the market. These are some of my favorite electrolyte powders. One's from Trace Minerals, one's Element, and one's from Redmond. It's Relight. And you can try some of these. If you are very active, if you sweat a lot, if you never, eat a lot of fresh fruit, if you have a lot of salt cravings, this could be something for you to try. Is try something. You can usually find a sample packet in the grocery store. But again, these are my 3 favorite brands. You can also make your own. So Kiki mentioned coconut water. You could do a cup of coconut water. I would do a full lime or a full lemon into that same cup. If you want to also throw an electrolyte powder, you can, or you can leave that out. And I would say some salt. I was about to say real salt, which is actually what this brand is, my favorite salt. So I would do that as a combination to make your own electrolyte drink for yourself to replenish those minerals. And I specifically mentioned real salt because this hasn't been stripped. It's from a mine here in Utah. All of the minerals and cofactors that came with the sodium are still intact. That's why it's got all these beautiful colors. And you can get potassium, magnesium, calcium, sodium, and chloride all in this. So there's all your electrolytes. So this would be my recommendation to make your own little electrolyte mix. How much salt? So that I would start with a quarter teaspoon for 1 cup, and then squeeze a lemon or a lime. And if you need to do some honey, like if that is just way too tart for you, throw a little honey, because that's also going to have some natural potassium and some good benefits for you. Okay, so I'm going to get into my cooking demo now. And it's funny because on her one of her slides, she talked about dates and almond butter and all of those things. So I'm going to show you real quick my little Snickers Bites. So what this is a date with some peanut butter and some melted chocolate on it. It's pretty simple. So I have a few dates right here. I've already taken the pit out of a few of them. So if you get them and they still have the pit, you would just pull that out. And actually you want to just just kind of leave it open, because you want a little space to put the peanut butter on it. So you can see that. And you can either leave it as one big piece. I kind of like the idea of kind of pulling them separate into two pieces, and then I just have this little bite. Like this guy's pretty big, but I'm going to leave them just like this. So then I would take a little bit of peanut butter, and I mean, you can just do this to however it works for you. I just put the peanut butter in until it just kind of fills the little space in there. It's helpful. I have a little piece of peanut butter here that didn't quite mix in with everything, so it's a little thicker, which actually helps. And I'm just putting some peanut butter on each date. Anybody here already like dates? I know for me, sometimes when I'm craving something sweet and I just can't get rid of that craving, I'll go grab a date like that. And then sometimes that just totally does it for me. So that's what I try and do. Okay, so I've got a little bit of peanut butter on each of those. And then what I've made here is I've melted the chocolate. So this is a little double boiler method. I just have a little bit of water in that pot. I just brought it up to a light boil. And then I put my chocolate chips in this bowl. So you just need a bowl that it's a little bit bigger than the pot. And it just very gently melts the chocolate. I put a little bit of coconut oil into that chocolate, which helps temper it. It helps keep the chocolate from seizing or separating, and it keeps it nice and silky smooth. Some of my favorite chocolate chips are either Enjoy Life. Enjoy Life is free from all of the big allergens, no nuts, no gluten, no dairy. I like Enjoy Life. That is made with real sugar. If you're looking for something without sugar, I really like Pasha, and I like Just Date, which you can guess that is made with date sugar. The other brand that I like that I don't have here is Hu, H-U. Those are some brands that no refined sugar. It's this one's also date sugar. So if you're trying to lower that sugar content but still have that rich chocolate experience, those are some ones that you can use. So now I'm just going to drizzle this wonderful chocolate over my dates. Make sure you can see that. And then once I do this, it's just going to go in the freezer. And that's it. So I had a few of these that I made a couple days ago, and I've kept them in the fridge, and I just grab one a day, and it just makes me super happy. It's just this little tiny fun little bite, not super sweet, because it all depends on what chocolate you use. But if you just drizzle it, and that's pretty much it. And then once you try this, you can see how much peanut butter you like on yours. Do you want a thick thing? Do you want, oh yeah, Angela, I'll type them in once I'm done talking. I'll put them in for you. Okay, so I've got the chocolate on my dates like that. And then I'm gonna sprinkle some peanuts on top. You could do this with almond butter, if you don't want to eat peanuts. And then I love doing like a little bit of big flaky salt on there too. Salt always makes chocolate taste better. And then I'm just going to put those into the freezer. And as soon as it's hard, they're ready. And then these are the ones I made a few days ago. They've been in the fridge and they're just this wonderful little bite. There's protein, there's a little sweetness, there's all of the wonderful minerals that come along with that date and the sweetness. So you're just not eating straight sugar. And so, as what Kahiki was explaining, like the context of when we have cravings, it's not just sugar we're craving everything that comes with it because our bodies are quite intelligent. And it could be that it's actually craving all the things that come along with that sweet taste. And so that's why I love dates so much. And sometimes we need that little bit of boost, but the peanut butter will make it more satisfying and make it digest slower so you don't, shoot up your blood sugar. Okay, so those are my dates. And again, like the way that I melted the chocolate is these are the little chocolate nuggets from Enjoy Life. I just put a little bit of coconut oil and then I sat it over my lightly simmering water. If you want to just microwave this, you can do that as well. I think it's like 30 seconds and you just stir. But then, yeah, my chocolate's like this nice thin consistency.
That looked amazing. I love the combo of sweet and salty. I like that you tackled two cravings in one, but you've got the protein that's satiating as well. So thank you for that. And now we all have a chocolate craving, right? But you guys are going to get those recipes. So, but now we're moving on to the next craving. So the next one are the comfort foods. So again, go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you want, but pasta, there are so many cool ways to do pasta now that's not going to spike your blood sugar. So you have cauliflower pasta, chickpea pasta, lentil pasta. Now here's the thing. Chickpea pasta, you're also getting protein. That's plant protein. So again, more nutritional bang for your buck. If you need more fiber and veggies, you can also do zucchini or squash noodles. So there's other ways to do it. Now remember what I said, before you go to bed is not the time you want to eat, right before going to bed, but that's also not when you need a lot of energy because you're about to go to sleep. And when I say energy, I want you to think that's carbs. So I do eat carbs. I eat complex carbs, but I'm very selective on when I eat carbs because I know what time of day I need that energy. Morning would be better. Midday would be better. My dinners are pretty lean because I don't need a bunch of carbs when I'm about to go to sleep. Now, if you're an endurance athlete, and you run for long periods, you cycle for long periods, you're a swimmer, that's when lifestyle matters. You need to factor it in. You would need those carbs before bed in that scenario. So hopefully that makes sense. So it depends on lifestyle for sure. Okay, so then here's other options for sauce. Cashew sauce. Now you're getting healthy fats, nutritional yeast in place of cheese. Now you're getting more protein. Avocado sauce, healthy fats. So sauce made with plain Greek yogurt. I love to do that. Pizza, you've seen the cauliflower pizza crust, or some people opt for wheat, but I tend to lean away from gluten because here in America, the way we process gluten makes it that much harder on our gut lining. It is actually damaging to our gut lining. So that's a side note to anybody that has gut issues going on or inflammation. Hopefully you caught what I was saying there. Mashed potatoes, mashed cauliflower, mashed sweet potatoes, right? And then hamburgers, turkey burgers. You can, in place of the bun, you can do the lettuce or leaves. Black bean burger, grass-fed burger, so many different options. French fries, baked sweet potatoes are some of my favorite. I love to add rosemary on it. So fried chicken, you can do baked chicken with almond flour coating or grilled chicken with flavorful spices. The spices alone can make it that much more appealing. So even if you're gonna have leftovers the next day, but you don't want to feel like you're eating leftovers, change up the spices. Sometimes it can make it feel like it's a completely different meal. And then ice cream, or nice cream again, banana cacao, so nice cream, or chia pudding with coconut milk and vanilla, because then you're getting that texture again. Sometimes it's a texture thing. And maybe you can recall that there may be some times where you ate something and even though it tastes good, the texture ruined it for you. So texture does matter for a lot of us. Okay, let's go on to our carb cravings. So, and of course, there are so many others out there, but these are some of my tops. Okay, white bread instead, I reach for sprouted grain or sourdough because fermentation is good for gut health. Tortillas or tortilla wraps, you can do whole grain or almond flour. I would even add in egg white wraps. Pasta, spaghetti squash, or zoodle, zucchini noodles again. And again, I've seen chickpea or lentil noodles as well if you need more protein and some more carbs. Rice, cauliflower rice, or quinoa. I'm a big fan of quinoa. It's actually a seed, not a grain. So rice is a grain, quinoa is a seed, and it's actually a complete plant protein. What I mean by that is a lot of plant proteins only have some of the amino acids that make a protein, whereas animal meat has all the amino acids. It's a complete protein. Plant proteins, you usually have to combine them to get a complete protein. Quinoa by itself is a complete plant protein. So I use quinoa in place of rice all the time. Plus, I like getting more protein where I can. What is nice cream? Nice cream is when you blend something like frozen banana and chocolate like cacao, and it gives you the texture of ice cream, and it's sweet like ice cream, but we call it nice cream because it's without the added sugars, it's without the dairy. You use almond milk or coconut milk instead. That's nice cream. And there's so many amazing recipes out there for different types. Okay, so good question. And then pastries, we have almond or coconut flour muffins, energy balls, banana bread with natural sweeteners. And then French fries, again, some of these fall into both categories, like French fries. You saw it on the last one as well. Okay, and then you can even do roasted Brussels sprouts. I just had that yesterday. Add in some garlic, and then baked sweet potato fries, cauliflower bites, do some cayenne pepper, give it a kick. Okay, so this is something I want to reiterate though. You can be doing all these things, but if you want it to stick, you want these new habits to stick, you got to remember that you cannot create a new future while living the emotions and their accompanying habits of your past. If they remain unaddressed, it will creep up again. And how I like to say it is when clients go on a diet and they're like, I've tried every diet, but none of it works after 3 months, which is the average time somebody falls off a diet. I've reverted to old habits, and I'll say, because you didn't change anything in here. So much of it is mental. You did all the things, you checked all the boxes on what you're supposed to eat, but this is where your natural set point is. You've got to change your behavior around food, and how you do that is you shift the way you look at foods. You got to build that relationship with food. That's when you start to change the set point, and that's when habits begin to stick, and it doesn't become a chore anymore when you change it in that way. Okay, so I stress again that deprivation is not the answer. It does not serve you. No amount of willpower can override your biology. If there's an unmet need, it doesn't matter how much you deprive yourself, that biology is going to take over, and those cravings are going to be unreal. Your body is extremely intelligent, and if it's not getting its needs met, it will scream at you. And that sometimes is cravings. Sometimes that's symptoms. It's our job to slow down and listen so we can meet that need. And then the craving will subside. So caloric restrictions actually increases cravings. And then restrictive dieting can actually lead to weight gain because it negatively impacts your metabolism. It makes your metabolism slow down. And when that slows down, weight gain goes up. And unmet nutritional needs as well. If you're restricting too much, now you're not getting all the nutrients you need. Those are deficiencies. Okay. And then when we weight cycle, it negatively impacts hormone health. So when you gain and lose, gain and lose, gain and lose, your metabolism takes a hit, your hormone balance or hormone health takes a hit, and we get imbalances. And so does your heart. That's actually hard on your heart. Dieting actually increases anxiety and depression. Mental health is definitely a part of health. In fact, you don't have health when you're not taking that with you on your health journey. So the way you eat needs to support your mental health as well. And if you're restricting too many nutrients, guess what you're also restricting? You're restricting the nutrients that your brain needs to produce happy hormones, like serotonin, for example, and dopamine. And remember what I said in the beginning, I'm talking 80% of your feel-good hormone serotonin is produced in your gut. So that is how important it is. And if you're protein, by the way, is one of the main building blocks of dopamine and serotonin. So if you're deficient in protein, so when I get clients that actually they're struggling with mental health issues, I ask them, how's your protein intake? Are you getting protein first thing in the morning? Because you need those amino acids for so many reasons, but especially for brain chemistry. Okay. But a very important part of this too is not just mental health, but dieting and looking at food like that, restrictive, rigid rules around food, that is also damaging your relationship with food. Okay. Nobody wants to be in a relationship with something that you have with someone, for example, that there's so many rigid rules around this person. It's stressful to be around them. It's not a happy feeling, right? Same with your food. It's not going to be a happy relationship if that's how you see it. It's about nourishment and fulfillment. So here's your playbook, and I want you to take a picture of this because we're trying to set you up for success outside of this class. I want you to be able to do this on your own. So the first is to set realistic goals. Okay, the brain actually resists drastic changes. It doesn't like it. That's psychology right there. That's facts. Our brains are almost like toddlers like that. You tell it to do something and you're stern with it, your brain's going to go, nope, and fight you back. It may work for a short time, hello diets, but it's not sustainable. So you need to start small. For example, swap one healthy snack a week or cut sugar for a week. I like the idea of bringing in more of the good, and it'll naturally start to filter out the not so good. Bring in the loving, filter out the unloving foods, and it'll naturally take that course. Make a to-do list of non-negotiables to create structure. So leave less room for failure by doing that. Then track your progress. Keep a food journal once again. There is power in awareness. Food journaling is awesome for that. I would also say on your feel-good days, high energy, great gut health, no inflammation or lower inflammation, make note of what you ate that day. Those are foods that love you back. Those foods sit well with your biology, and those are worth prioritizing. Okay? So, and it also helps, keeping a log or food journal also will help you strengthen your mind-body connection because you're learning now what's working for you and what isn't. Okay, document the small wins because actually the brain loves that. Who doesn't love a pat on the back? Your brain is the same way. Document the small wins because your brain will see the evidence of success. And that helps with momentum. Then troubleshoot cravings and challenges. So just like I said, on the good days, document what foods you ate, prioritize those foods. Same thing on the not so good days. Maybe inflammation increased, joint pain increased, indigestion, bloat, all of those things increased. Energy was so low. What did you eat that day? And then on enough of those days, you will start to see common foods popping out at you. Those foods are the ones not loving your body back. And those are the ones I would start to filter out and bring in more of the loving foods that you were thriving on. Okay, so when cravings hit, disrupt the pattern. So that's when you insert the pause again. And then change your current state. Move your body. Walk, stretch, deep breathing, go outside even. Refocus, journal, call a friend. Engage in a different activity. And then reprogram your thoughts. So again, ask, am I actually hungry? Or am I just eating out of habit or boredom? Is there an unmet nutritional or emotional need? Power in the pause. Remember that. And then consistency over willpower. You have to take away that fight, because truly it's not a fight. It's aligning mind and body. So they both are your ally. It's almost like we're getting us out of the way of your body's natural process. Repetition is key. So the more, just like practicing anything, right? The more you practice, these healthy habits are stronger. The neural pathways actually become in your brain. Your brain is literally making these new connections. And that's how habits are created. Okay. Meal planning for success. Like I said, with the proteins, I pre-prep our little protein snacks in our house, because I know there are plenty of times when I'm busy in between calls, my kids are busy and we need to grab and go. Those are there, and I know they're still getting what they need. You set yourself up for success like that when you do that. Your future thrives on not on last minute choices, but on being prepared and intention. So go into your week with the intention of setting yourself up to thrive. Okay, and then accountability and community. I find that when I'm helping a client rebalance some type of health imbalance, right? One of my first questions to them is, what does your support system look like? And I'm asking you that because that will help determine someone's success. If you feel like you don't have much of one, get one for the sake of your longevity. Surround yourself with those that are also striving to thrive. Okay? Otherwise, you have a weight holding you back. You will constantly have a weight holding you back. And the analogy I want you to take away is, if we have a sick fish, we want to heal that fish, right? We're going to give it all the nutrients it needs. But if we put that fish back into the dirty water, what is going to happen to that fish? The water is your environment. Make it loving, make it nourishing and supportive. It so matters. Okay? And then lastly, your relationship with food starts with your relationship with you. A positive self-perception impacts food choices and eating behaviors for better or for worse. I'm not saying you have to have the best self-esteem in the world to make good choices. Sometimes we have to do it anyway, and then we start to believe in ourselves. Then the relationship with ourselves starts to be repaired. I've seen it go both ways. But our relationship with food impacts our mental, our emotional, and our physical well-being. They are not separate. So when we align mind and body, we stop the internal war going on, so balance and healing can be restored. And then food becomes our partner in health rather than a source of control or guilt. The idea is nourish rather than control. So this is the recap. Mindset shapes your habits. So shift from I always give in to I make choices that fuel my health. Small, consistent actions create big results. Perfection is not required. It's actually not human nature, but progress is. Daily habits shape long-term success. Cravings are signals, not commands. You don't have to listen to them, but it's not a fight. Learn to decode what your body is actually asking for. Then break the cycle with awareness. Awareness is where you take your power back. Recognize the triggers. Where are you? What is it that you need? Set yourself up for success. Plan those meals, plan those snacks. Stock your kitchen with foods that love you back. So when time comes, that's what's available to you. And then be kind to yourself. Exclamation mark, underscore, bold. One choice doesn't define you. Remember that. Focus on long-term stability, not short-term guilt. Guilt is no longer part of your story, ladies. Okay? Your identity is not defined by one bad choice. I don't even like the word bad. What matters is consistency over time. You will have slip-ups. That is part of the health journey. It's about where your natural set point is so you get right back in it. On the top right, those are books I highly recommend. Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is changing the mental game. This is a big one. And then Restoring Your Relationship with Food. I like the book, What Are You Hungry For? By Deepak Chopra. And then when you're trying to create better habits, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Any or all of them are a great idea, but I would definitely, if any of those resonate with you, I would dive deeper into it.
I'll let you know right now, we've loved having you here with us. For those of you that haven't been in a class with us before, now you know exactly what all of our classes are like. Kahiki and I do a class just like this once a month. Our next one coming up. All right, everyone. Well, if you don't have any other questions, we're at just under the hour. So hopefully you learned something, that there was something. Yeah, people are nodding. Like there was something in here that like aha'd, like, oh, okay, the next time I'm craving this, I'm going to try that, or just maybe understanding your body's signals a little better now.
Very motivational. Thank you. Inspiring.
Thank you. All right, anything else, Kahiki?
Choose foods that love your body back this week. Honor you in that way. Thank you for coming, ladies. Nice to meet you all.
Okay. All right,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Okay, good night.
Thank you. I love that.